My goodness. So I don't miss them.
I don't think so. I think you'll just have to check on here. Because when a chat comes up, it'll pop up down here, or you can leave the chat bar open.
Okay.
It'll come on
I have
there.
to drink it
They'll
all.
be up here across the top.
And usually I do,
Yeah.
and more.
And you'll hear them if they start talking.
Okay.
You just won't be able to see
I'm just
them.
lucky if I could make myself fill that up twice.
Okay.
Well, I had one that was a 65 because that was the minimum that I was supposed to drink. And I kept it and I was able to do it, but then I would stop.
And it will send it to me.
To here's the back.
All right.
Actually, well, here's the thing. I don't drink soda anymore. This is the only thing that I drink. So I actually don't even go to the bathroom because it's using the liquid the way it's supposed to. Yeah. So I don't drink Diet Coke because that's a diuretic. I don't do a lot of salt. That's, so.
What I'd do without Diet Dr. Pepper.
Listen,
You would survive and you feel so good.
it's been a struggle. I haven't had a Diet Coke in 3 months and I would probably kill someone.
You get a lot of clear American, zero guilt, supposedly.
We'll find out later.
I don't feel guilty, at least. But
I don't have feelings anymore. Yeah. I just drink my Diet Coke and go on with it.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna wait 2 minutes and then we'll start. Because I know, Krista, you have to leave. We're all super busy. It's extra quiet down here. This is probably why they turn on music during team meeting to like start out, so it's not like awkward, like an awkward silence. Really, they can hear me, right? I'm just assuming that people online can hear me. Okay. Okay.
The microphones are green, that means they're on.
Oh.
Bunch of them, so.
Okay, got it. So they don't need microphones anymore. Okay. Yes, our technology is just improving so much.
Online presence is growing.
Oh, we
Hey.
have an extra. Who else joined us? Nicole.
Oh, women. Like probably my teammate, so he knows I'm not talking bad.
Yeah. I told my teammates they had to come just so that I didn't like say anything embarrassing. I'm like, will you just like tell me if I say something stupid? Sure. So,
Hold your phone, they'll just text twice in a row.
do we already leave Sandra? She don't want to stay?
No, there's a couple gurus on their way too, but
Yeah.
in normal fashion, we are.
yeah,
Wasn't Elise coming or is she? Yeah. And then my team said they would be here too, but my team doesn't ever show up, so. Yeah, I shouldn't say they don't ever show up. They don't ever show up on time.
That's just They're on the maker phone. agent fashion right there.
Yeah. There's another one. There's Carla.
classic.
Hi, Carla. Can you hear us? Just unmute herself.
Yes, I sure can. Thanks.
Carla, can you hear us? Are you there?
She'll probably type to you.
I
Yes.
can't hear you. Nicole, can you hear us online?
Yes, I can, loud and clear.
Awesome, because it feels like we're talking to ourselves. But, okay,
This will be slightly awkward into the abyss. So.
there you are. How was your haircut?
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Here, learn.
I'd give it a couple minutes, Lindy.
Okay, we'll still wait a couple more minutes. So things I was going on page one. No.
Got your blood drive coming up?
Yeah,
You guys really took to those.
Oh, I might need to cancel.
no, you can't, I'm sorry. There's actually no backing out.
They will come to your office and tap you.
My son made it and I'll start a team for golf, so I have to go
Oh, it's on that day?
to Kansas City.
Interesting. That's cool.
I even signed the lease up.
I know, I saw that she signed up and I was gonna say something to you and I'm like, I bet she didn't sign herself up.
But I'm doing it and I will be there.
Awesome, maybe you can give double. Are you an O, positive, negative, or? No, okay, so you can make up for.
You can give double.
If you're a certain blood type, basically all the negatives, I think, can give double.
Really? I didn't know that.
It's called a power red.
Like, would that not like
And
wipe you out?
so they like put stuff, I don't know what they put in you, but yeah,
Saline.
it pumps stuff back into you. So you actually like feel pretty good, at least I've been told, afterwards, because you've just been like super hydrated from all of their stuff. So, yeah.
I donated plasma for several years there for a while.
To buy
Just to
beer.
pay the bill.
I was gonna say, beer money or just out of the good,
Sushi money.
out of the good of your heart, yeah.
Back in the college days, I was with you. I was like, all right, guys, let's go. I got stuff to do.
All right, we're 3 minutes in, and as an admin, I'm like itching to start, so I'm sure you guys are too. So, thank you guys for sitting up here in front of all of these people. Yeah, so we were talking before, and I think it's kind of an interesting, we'll get into the questions too, but I think it's an interesting play on like, what is an admin now? Because it seems like it's gone so many different directions. And then like the transaction coordinator comes into play. And it seems like people are like leaning more towards a transaction coordinator than hiring an admin, which there's obviously the goods and bad to that, because you hired a transaction coordinator first, right? And then you hired an admin. So just interesting route. But so our first question is, tell us, just kind of introduce yourself. So time and role, your official title, and what your team structure is. Bethany, I'll let you start.
My name's Bethany Merkel, and I work for Riley Real Estate with Elise. And we have Elise as our agent, and then we just hired on a buyer's agent. Last Monday she started. So super excited about that. I've been in my role only 10 months. And my official title is, I don't know, we just call me her admin.
Yeah. Good. All right, Andrew.
Awesome. My name's Andrew Scott. I work with the Property Gurus. The COO/support manager is our title there. There are 10 of us, 6 agents and 4 non-agents. And that's kind of part of what I do is help take care of them, the non-agents, make sure they have what they need. I've been putting the men in admin since 2020.
You're like one of the only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What are your 4 non-agent roles that you have?
So there is myself, and it's exactly what you said about like, what is an admin? Because it's, you know, there's not really any one specific role anymore, it seems like, and our team definitely embraces that idea. So we do have a transaction coordinator, Carla Gregg. She's online with us here, who does all the contract to close. We have our videographer. His name's Lynn Hughes with LH Productions. And he does, you may have seen our videos online that the gurus do. He takes care of all of that, as well as all of our marketing stuff for listings. And then
He's on your payroll. Like,
so
is he a contractor?
yeah, he is a contractor currently. We're exploring other options,
Okay.
but we consider him part of the team
Okay.
because when our Rainmaker started his solo business, Lynn was an integral part of that. So
Okay.
he's on the team for all intent and purpose there.
Okay.
And he and I do work closely together. And our last person is our field agent. Her name's Carrie. She does a lot of showings, and we call her the field agent because she doesn't just do showings, signs and log boxes, and the occasional document run for the old school customers who don't do the digital stuff. She can help us with that as well. And then in my role, I manage them. You know, Carla and I split a lot of the traditional admin stuff, but in the sense that like I manage all the listings and I'm the day-to-day presence in the office. I write offers and documents for our agents when they need it. And yeah, Carla and I do kind of split the bulk of what your traditional admin tasks would be.
Okay, awesome. Krista, I pulled Krista out of like getting you out of your office and like into the public.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Krista Bryan, I work on Red Door Associates, Susan Heron and Alan Wright are my team members. I'm a licensed admin. I've been with them or with Susan for about 10 years, which is crazy. I still don't know what to call myself. It's kind of just changed over the years. Office manager, operations manager. Yeah, I do it all. So anyway, we have Alan as our buyer's agent. Susan's the Rainmaker. I bring business occasionally if I choose to do so. But
Are you guys licensed?
I am.
Both of you are licensed. Okay, so that's, yeah, I'm also licensed. So it's not necessary as an admin to be licensed, but
Super beneficial.
I do think it's helpful.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
agree.
But I quickly learned that in my role that I could do more for Elise if I was licensed.
Mhm,
So
Sure.
If you're a single agent and you're gonna bring an admin on, I would recommend them being licensed because, yeah.
I would too, yeah. For those of you guys or those online, the reason I find it's beneficial for an agent, for an admin to be licensed is because if someone were to call and say like, hey, how much is this house? How many bedrooms? How much square foot? You can't answer those questions if you're not licensed. So I found quickly as well that like, if I want to actually support, I do need to be licensed. So those of you guys that don't know me, my name's Lindy. I work for Doug Lett's team, also known as Owner's Choice Realty. I have been with Doug since 2018, so whatever the math is on that, 4 years. And I have an all-encompassed role. We just for the first time actually hired somebody like 2 weeks ago. Otherwise, it was all me. Like Chris and Bethany, kind of like I did all, well, I shouldn't say, I at one point did all contracts to close, all advertising, all, list paperwork, buyer paperwork, anything that had to do with real estate, I did it. We recently hired a transaction coordinator, so I took that off of my plate. I found that I maxed out at like 15 transactions. I don't know if you guys feel like
That's what they say is the typical.
yeah, so I maxed out at 15 transactions, and when our team started doing more than 15 transactions, I basically said like, I can't do this role plus everything else. So we hired a transaction coordinator. We use Lindsay Fearing at Clear Contract to Close, and she's better at it than what I was. Like I was so nervous to like pass it off, and I was like, oh crap, like I sucked compared to what she was doing. Like, and she's on it. So having her has been a blessing. And then we just hired an ISA. So I'm in the process of training her, and that's like my downfall. I hate the ISA. I shouldn't say I hate the ISA role, but I don't like the phone calls. I don't like the cold calling. So my struggle right now is getting her to the people that are the right people to train her, because I know it's not me. So, and then our team structure. So we have 6 of us on our team, I believe. So there's Doug, our rainmaker, then there's me, there's our ISA, and then we have 4 other agents, and they're not just a buyer's agent or a seller's or a listing agent. They're just whatever business comes their way, they get that business. So that's our team in a nutshell. All right. So what was your rainmaker's business like before you started versus now, and how has your role changed and evolved? Krista, I'll let you start on this one.
That's a big question.
It is a big question.
Let's see, Susan had, when I first started, it was 10 years ago, she had an occasional buyer's agent. It wasn't super consistent. And I started with her for like, I think I worked like 3 hours a week or a day for her at first. And she was handling like 14 listings. I mean, at the time she had a lot of listings on her own, and she was doing the buyer's agent and everything like that. So, obviously now I've taken all of that off of her plate and given her a life. So, and anyway, how has my role changed? Well, I mean, I went from 3 hours to full-time, and I'm licensed now. I wasn't then. I can if Susan disappears, the business will keep running because I can handle it all. So
That's awesome.
I don't know if that makes sense.
That does make sense. And you also have had, you have hired a couple of roles and then they haven't worked out, and then
Yeah, just our team has kind of evolved. You know, we've had more buyer's agents, and then they left for whatever reason they left. And so it just really just the ebb and flow of how much business we're getting. So if we start to get more business, I'll hire another admin to help, or we'll get another buyer's agent or whatever we need. So,
and is that you that hires that?
Susan's somewhat involved in that, or she was at first. I'm trying to be more of a hiring person, but it's a full-time job to do that anymore.
Yeah.
I haven't had to do it much, but I feel like I haven't been the most successful.
Yeah, it's hard to hire someone.
Time to learn.
It's hard to bring someone into your world and like trust that they're gonna do the business that you want it to do, and then you are responsible for that person's world.
I've had one admin that I miss otherwise it's like, they didn't really.
It more, right?
Yeah.
All right, Andrew, how's your Rainmakers business changed?
So he's in the house today.
You weren't even hired for the role that you're currently in,
That
like,
is
yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
There were, things were just a little different when I was hired. We kind of learned what we wanted the role to be together through a lot of messy trial and error, basically. That's a very long story, very short. But, he actually already had a TC when I joined the team. But we joined kind of with the intent of like, hey, we're going to make a team. And that's about all we knew. What am I doing? Who knows? Like, well, at least when we started. So, we figured it out. But essentially what his business looks like now is he is still in production, but he spends a lot of time helping coach the other agents on our team, of which there are 6 others currently, to really help them launch their businesses. And I know we've seen a lot of success on our team. Kind of got all it's been almost 2 years. So we've seen people graduate, if you will, and they've left the team and started their own teams. That's happened once, and we got some very successful agents on the team right now. So he spends a lot of time investing in them and coaching. My role, as we said, obviously has changed a lot. Just kind of naturally as I got licensed, gain career capital just in the field of real estate. I get to just take on more tasks. I couldn't manage a listing right when I got started. I do now. So and we've kind of figured out between all of us, Blake, Carla, and I, kind of whose lane is which. But the main goal for my role is to just be there to help the agents, and that does include Blake. In whatever capacity I can, and we've identified the specifics of what that is within a real estate transaction, but we also love to help each other outside of a real estate transaction as well.
Yeah. Blake, would you add anything to that about how your business has changed since you brought him on?
I mean, it's exploded.
It has exploded, yeah.
I was like, I think last year, we did 55 on my own, but I was drowning. The year before that, I did 30, and then we ended up closing out 138 last year. I think we're sitting at probably with pended and stuff, that's coming 70 right now. So we're on track to start just going into the crazier season. So it's, trying to think, production for sure, but it exploded, and you got somebody on the back end that you trust that's going to take care of the stuff, so you can let that go. Because running 14 transactions at a time when you're handling 14 buyers or sellers that are losing their mind, and then being like, okay, what inspection period are we in? Do we have you just wake up and look at your calendar, you're like, hey, make sure this gets resolved today. You're like, thank God he's on it.
It's done, yeah.
Good Lord.
All right, Bethany.
All right, the business that Elise had prior to me coming on was consistent, but it had a lot of peaks and a lot of valleys. We looked at a report last week, it was it's interesting to see. And I said, oh, is there a direct correlation? She said, yes. But the contracts that she's writing, she's stabilized. And it's really cool to see year over year how those numbers have stabilized. I think I said to Elise a couple of weeks ago, I go, I don't know how you did this without a TC or myself, I said, what gave? And she said, her family time and customer service. Yeah.
So a lot of the effort, it's a lot.
Yeah. So that's been something that I think has changed in her book of business since I've come. And my role, I still feel like I'm evolving my role. There's so much I want to do, but I'm having to prioritize what I am able to do. I do work part-time right now, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, which I'll talk about obstacles later. But procedures and policy, I hate the word policy, best practices. Marriott taught me that years ago. So there's so much I want to do, but finding the time and prioritizing is what I would what I'm working on to be able to evolve my role. I did go and get my license. I quickly learned that, gosh, she shouldn't be going out and like dropping off lock boxes and stuff like that. If I can do it, I would be happy to, but I couldn't do that without my license. And then like the listing side of things, she has better words on the marketing remarks, but I can do everything else.
Yeah.
So
At least how has your life changed?
Well.
Because I know like you were struggling with that like work life balance. So how has your life changed since hiring Bethany?
Well, I mean, she kind of nailed it where it's like everything was like this, where I would be like, all right, I've got business. Oh shit, I've got to handle all this business. And then my pipeline would just drop and then I would go up and down and up and down. And now it's literally since she's come on board, it's just been straight consistency because we had to learn how to work with each other in a way where I was like just so used to trying to do everything that she's picking up the pieces as I'm just kind of like flailing around. And she's like, is that something I can do? Is that something I can do? And so what it's given me is, I mean, I'm at home every single night with my kids. Every single night I put my kids to bed without fail, except for family reunion and mega camp because I'm literally not here. But every other night I have been there, and that's the one thing that is priceless.
Yeah.
So it's given me back like the ability to be married. That was cool.
Yeah.
So.
see your wife.
Yeah, she secret deletes the Amazon purchases that Felicia is,
That's how you
from my
know you have
email.
a good admin.
It's actually true.
But I mean, there's times where, she's actually just said, hey, you need to get in your car and leave because this is where your appointment's at, so you need to leave. And I'm just like, thank you. It's like hiring a boss. And that's in a way has been the most critical thing is just having someone to keep me on track. And that's given me the consistency. So work-life balance is possible now.
Bethany, she was so excited that she was able to bring you on her team. I don't know if she's told you that before, but she told me, I didn't think that she would want to work with me. She was so excited that she was honored that you chose her.
She should feel honored.
Yeah.
I quit my career of 15 years. I was in the hotel and property management business. I did HR, so I don't want to hire. I'm done with that. I've done that for 15 years. So I put it on Facebook that I was leaving my job, and she called me that day and another friend called me that day. And I quit my job for work-life balance too. And so this has given me that ability.
You get to go to your son's all-star baseball game and you don't even think twice about it.
6 nights in Webb City is way too much.
So my Rainmakers business, anybody that knows Doug, he's all over the place as well. Like him and Elise are kind of similar, literally throwing things out, and I would just, he will walk in with 6,000 things on his mind, and my goal is to filter out his mind and what's important and what's not. Before I even came in, he called me probably 15 times this morning because he's in the car and his mind is just it's just running. So when I started, it was just him and I think one other agent. That agent's no longer with him. I don't know how they were getting paid because their compliance was so bad. I have no idea who was pushing that through and saying it was okay. And I also know that the Market Center has evolved as well. And so they're a little bit more strict. I think they were just passing out paychecks before, and then they got audited. But now his business is steady. He has, there's 6 agents now. He has, I think, 4 grandkids now. 3, 4. And Krista said, he can leave and our business will continue to run. He's going on vacation next week, and he said he commented this is the first time I'm going to go on vacation without my computer. I'm not going to bring my laptop with me. I'm going on vacation. And hopefully I have created an environment where he can walk away and know that business will still happen. I keep joking with him. His wife retires next year. And I was so are you going to retire with her? And he was no, I'm going to have to work harder because when my wife retires, she spends more money. So yeah, so I was great, we'll see how this works out. And my role really hasn't changed a ton other than the fact that there's other agents that I now have to corral. But I would call myself an executive assistant. Like I am Doug's executive assistant. Like if he has a birthday party on Saturday, I'm the one that puts it on his calendar. If he is supposed to be somewhere, I'm the one that's handing him the folder when he's walking out the door. And that's kind of like what Andrew said, like we didn't have a role when I started. It was just like, I don't know what you're going to do. I just know that I need you. So I kind of tried to figure out what my role was as we went along. So, all right, what do you guys feel like your strength in your role is? Let's let Andrew start.
So I know one strength that I have and something I just love to do is to like teach and train. I have a lot of patience in that area. And I love like, I explain to someone how to do a thing, they don't get it. I love like finding an alternate way to try to say it like, we're gonna make this click. I'm gonna make it click and you're gonna get it. I just like doing that and have the opportunity to do that in this space, with the, not so much, obviously I'm not training on negotiating contracts, things like that, but just the technical stuff. How are you guys gonna input your information and whatnot, how to do our systems, things like that. And I love that. And then I'm it's funny, leaving the bank, which is where I worked beforehand, I thought I was like this super uptight, like
Operations processes.
but we kind of discovered through a lot of conversation that that was more the bank imposing that on me.
Mhm.
I'm pretty in the middle between what I call agent personalities and non-agent personalities. In my support management role, I like to think I'm a pretty good intermediary between agents, non-agents. If you look at my KPA, which we put a lot of stock in that on our team, quite a few of my stats are pretty close to the middle, which means you got flexibility one way or the other. And that's been very beneficial for me personally, and I think for the business as well.
Awesome. Krista, what's your strength?
I would agree. I feel like I'm flexible and can move to the role that I need to be in, even though, we do the KPA also, that when I first started, the DISC was the thing. So I'm very high C, I'm compliant, I'm a rule follower for the most part. So I would say that's also a strength. I'm the one that's like keeping people in line. I'm keeping our agents in line. I'm reading contracts and saying, yeah, you shouldn't have done this, or you need to do this instead, which is another benefit of having a licensed admin. Anyway, you have more eyes on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, organized, handle multiple things.
I had organization, don't look at the pile next to my desk, but it's pretty organized. That was the first thing I did when I went into Elisa's office. There's a lot to do. Huh?
You cleaned your desk? Literally?
Yeah, she hadn't even moved from Battlefield, I think. It was all in paper bags. So not knowing real estate, I was like, what are these checks? Like, I didn't know that they were all scanned in and
She's like, "You're
paper.
broke."
I was like, have you not deposited these? So follow up, I don't like to be last minute on things. So I'm trying to be ahead of the game. So we're not trying to do an inspection notice response the day of. Even though those things are on our calendars, it's, there's still preparation and you still have to talk to your clients. I'm good at also taking things from Elise, like she was talking about earlier. Like sometimes I don't even ask her. I'm like, nope, I'm going to do that. Or trying to get her to focus on the lead gen. That's like, I'm trying to take things away from her to be able to do that. And it's obviously showing, I would say. With coming in on a Monday morning she's throwing 3 contracts at me, so.
Oh, I love coming in Monday with contracts. I'm like, yes. Like, look at all this stuff that you guys have done. It's
I think the
exciting.
problem is I don't warn her and I'm like,
Well,
welcome.
If you saw her email box, you guys would be like, understand why, like, I didn't see one until like 3:30 because I had to go back further. Yeah.
That's what ours is too.
Oh, very cold out today.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say my strength is I'm very resourceful. Like if you call me and you say like, hey, I need to know who the owner is of this lot next to the Casey's on Kearney, I'll be like, all right, I'll find it. And I'll figure out like what they had for lunch today. Like I am super resourceful. And I think that's helpful to our agents because like they'll call me on a whim and be like, hey, I need a comp for this. Or hey, what do you think about this? And if I don't know the answer, I am very comfortable like walking into somebody's office and saying like, somebody help me. I think that's a big part of like being an admin too, is like being like, I don't know the answer, but I will find you the answer. And by the time you get to your next appointment, I will have the answer for you. So that's kind of my
I've
goal.
literally walked into your office and been like, Lindy, can you help me figure out who owns this parcel in Douglas or whatever county that was? I think we've literally done that.
Yeah.
So
No,
thank you.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah, we're private investigators.
Super
sometimes.
private investigator, like I will find the criminal history. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Training and onboarding, what did that look like? Was there anything? I'll start. I had, again, like when Doug hired me, he was like, I don't know why I need you. I just have been told that like, I need you. So I had no training, and Doug had no systems, no process, nothing. He did put me through the Perfect Assistant, which was helpful. It wasn't my greatest training resource, I didn't feel like. So honestly, my training was me walking into people's offices saying like, I don't know how to do this. And it was super frustrating for me. I came from retail where I had been there for like 15 years and I knew every single system. Like there was nothing that could surprise me in a day. I could fix it. To not being able to do my job because I literally didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know like who to call, what document I needed. I didn't know any of that stuff. And so I had to rely, my training was other admins telling me how to do my job. So that's kind of what my training was. The other end of this question was, what do you do now for continuing education and or training? I try to go to every possible training that there is in the market center. A lot of times I'm the only one that shows up. Like Elise had one, I'm like, hey, this is the Lindy show. Like, here's all my questions. And then I listen to podcasts, anything that Nick Baldwin puts out. I listen to him. The Marty Miller, the 66-day challenge. Like I learned all about command through Marty Miller. YouTube is always like on in my office in the background. I think Bethany, you walked in one day and I had like a podcast going and you're like, are you talking to someone? I'm like, no, I'm listening to like the Atomic Habits or whatever. I'm like, it's awful. So go ahead and like, yeah, talk to me because it's horrible. But so that's what my training looks like. And I do, all of mine is like self-training. That's who I am. I'm self-motivated. If I want to learn something, I will find out. And then I just tell Doug how much it's going to cost him, basically. Krista?
I'll piggyback off of her because that's exactly what my training was too. Because it was 2012 when I joined her. Susan's site, office site was not on site. We were not in the Keller Williams office.
I didn't know that.
The office was very different back then. I don't remember hearing about training. I'm sure it was happening. Gosh, all the staff is completely different.
Mhm.
I've been through many MCAs and stuff like that. But yeah, I had to figure it out on my own, and she had no systems, and you just kind of figure it out.
You do figure it out.
Went to family reunion and with her, one of the first years that I was with her, and I was like, I went to a training and I now know what I'm supposed to be doing and what you're not doing and supposed to be doing, and so.
Andrew?
Yeah, training. What was that when we got here? We figured it out together, like I said.
Trained by osmosis.
Yeah, osmosis, whatever, yeah. Training our agents now, though, we haven't really hired any like back-end staff stuff, so I'm gonna be curious about that when the time comes, because it will come, but as far as training the agents right now, onboarding and stuff for them, that was a big focal point over the, kind of at the start of this year. It's like, we really wanna make them feel so supported when they start. It kind of just came up in a conversation with one of our agents earlier this morning, and I was like, bro, I'm kind of sorry. It was kind of, it was very archaic when things just started. We have what we love, our onboarding checklist essentially now for new agents, really gets them introduced to a lot of our affiliates, meeting them person to person, multiple conversations with Blake and I about kind of the whole philosophy of the team, as well as like the basics. And it's it takes about a month or so, but we love that. And then we do a lot of continued training through our videos. Our videos, a lot of them are educational, our agents educating their sphere. And they learn, again, through kind of osmosis, but they obviously have to learn the material to teach it. And we've been creating, or I should say Blake has created a very intentional structure of like, this week you're going to talk about this and then this and this and this. And in order that kind of makes sense for like a new agent to come in, learn about a lot of the real estate things in an order that makes sense. And then they're kind of 2-in-1, learning a lot while educating their sphere. And that's a form of lead generation for us. So it's kind of a wombo combo there. And we have a team meeting every week where we like to break down relevant stuff. The market's changing right now. Let's talk about it. We're all in the same room for an hour a week, and we, touch base and just talk about whatever's on people's minds and hearts at that time as concerns to real estate.
We do that too. We have a team meeting twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. Ours is just on Zoom though, so they don't have to physically come into the office. You guys haven't physically come into
We
the office,
do.
yeah.
I mean,
Ours-
you can Zoom, but
Ours is just on Zoom and it's like 10 minutes. It's like nothing super. All right, Bethany, I forget even what question.
I just put what onboarding on this answer. I came in at an interesting time of Elise's life. Her wife was pregnant, doing less than a month. So it was very self-directed learning. I'm like, Lindy, like if I can't figure it out, I catch myself, I will start to ask them, I'm like, wait, nope, there's a resource. I can look it up. Whether it's on like MLS training or Marty Miller. Before I even started my official start date with Elise, I had a list of all the Marty Millers that were broken out by topic. And so I had started doing that. I will say like Andrew was a huge help during that time because she wasn't here. And so I was like, can I shadow you? Can you tell me more about what you do here and stuff? So finding a seasoned admin was super helpful.
I appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
I definitely think a lot of admin training is like admins training other admins. Because we all know that there is no like actual admin, like sit down role training. Like, like for the agents, there is I don't know what they call it now, the PC coaching. But there's nothing actually for admins. And I think if you are looking to hire an admin, I think like the self learner is very important for them to have that characteristic because you don't know what they don't know and they don't know what, so they have to be resourceful. And honestly, I would say YouTube has been my best training.
Thank God for Google.
Yeah, right? Yeah. What is the biggest obstacle that you had to overcome when you first started? Andrew, you wanna go?
I'd love to. So
Great question, thanks for asking.
it's really, it was a big surprise because, I was kind of like, I knew a lot about the bank. There was not much that could surprise me. So I was really concerned about I got this whole new industry to learn. And I thought that would be public enemy number one as far as like me getting my job done. And that was not the case. It was a total restructure of my mindset. 9 to 5, baby. Like I'm in, I'm out. And when I'm out, boy, am I out. Well, the way we've kind of built the role, it just doesn't allow for that anymore. And it really was a struggle, a personal struggle to adapt to that. It took, I'm still adapting to it, but the better part of a year before I really kind of got over that hump. It's compare, I'm sitting here with my square hole in a circle peg, and I'm just banging the circles into squares for about a year is what it felt like. And again, through a lot of like messy trial and error and a lot of good conversations and some not very fun, some very beneficial, like we figured it out. So didn't even have anything to do with the industry itself from a technical perspective, but it was such a challenge and I'm very grateful to be on the other side of that.
Yeah, I would say I was my biggest obstacle too, because me, like just my type of personality, I wanted to know like how to do it now, and I couldn't. And then like that mindset change of like this, like owning a business, like, and I would say like I do help Doug like in his business, owning a business and like is very different mindset than working for a corporate company where like you're 9 to 5 and you clock in, you clock out, somebody else is responsible for you, get a review, you're in like a little box. If you want to make more money, you have to go ask somebody for a raise and then you have to get your performance reviewed. Like it's a whole like different world. And then when you realize that there's this whole other world out there where like you can be responsible for your own growth and your own income and your own life. You're like, holy crap, why did I waste so much time over here? So like I was my biggest obstacle until I realized that like this isn't corporate America anymore. This is like me like getting to do what I want to do with my life. Yeah. All right, Bethany.
Well, I would say my biggest obstacle is getting like that client relationship built on my side, because everybody knows Elise's phone number. Everybody wants to talk to Elise. Finally, like, and I think, you know, we waste time like trying to communicate, hey, what did you tell your clients? Or can I see your phone so I can at least get caught up or whatever? And we're in transition right now with our own phone system that is shared. It's called Dial Pad. It's just like Ring Central and stuff. But when we have new contracts and new clients now, we're putting them on there so I can at least be informed, because I wasn't able to help her the way I wanted to, because I would have to wait for her to respond. So now it's just my obstacle is training her to use Dial Pad.
It's your obstacle.
Yeah.
Get out of my way so I can make you money.
She
So
texted me this morning and said the question, and she was like, what is my biggest obstacle? And she was like, my agent. I'm like,
No.
That is correct.
I will also, it's a little bit different from what you guys were talking about, the 9 to 5 and stuff. My last job, I was responsible for a lot. And my owner, who I'd worked for 15 years, he was the owner. So I was like his right-hand person helping him run his business. So like taking a step back was a little bit different because I didn't have all the responsibility like I did in my other job. So, and I'm a fixer. I want to make sure everything's fixed very quickly. So sometimes I have to wait on others. I'm not just talking about her, but like vendors and all those things.
Yeah, when people don't respond to the email.
Yeah.
Like, come on, I know you're not ignoring me. Krista?
I guess my biggest obstacle is just figuring out my role, as I mentioned before, but also getting to know my agent, because she had to relinquish control to let me do my job. And until I figured out exactly what my role was and what she wasn't giving up, you know, I guess that was a big turning point. But I think it's just really important to figure out the expectations, figure out what kind of person your agent is that you're dealing with. Because
Yeah, knowing your agent is a very big deal. Like I was helping somebody with training and they were like trying to do all these like great like spreadsheets and like all this like magical stuff. And I was like, that's great. I was like, but if your agent doesn't look at that, don't be offended. Like you spend so much time on this and your agent won't even open it up. Like don't be offended. It's just not the right tool. You know, like, yes, whatever you created was great, but it's not right for them. So, like I went to like, I think it was when Lindsay did like her contract training and they were using this like magical spreadsheet and I loved it and had like all these numbers on there and all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, that'll never work on my team because they'll be like, they'll hit a button and erase the entire formula, you know? So I just think, just know that like, you may have this grand scheme, but if it doesn't work for your agent, it's not the right thing.
And vice versa. I think when we sat down and we're talking about the admin, we're like, what do we want it to look like? And we have this idea, but we also want her to come up with that idea too, because I feel like same thing with the spreadsheets. If we say, hey, here's the spreadsheet, I don't know that we're gonna get that same connectivity from her, but if we can do it together,
yeah,
kind of the same thing.
Yeah. So, and like we have the motto on our team is like, at the end of the day, somebody has to sell the damn house. Otherwise nothing else matters. Like it's literally like on our wall. And to us, that means like you can have all these fancy tools. You can have these like really pretty business cards and a nice website. But if you're not selling any houses, then none of that works. Like screw all of that. Like you have to physically get out and sell the house. I think that's what admins are good at, and be like, get out and sell the house and I'll take care of everything else.
Bosses.
Yeah.
so we filter out the bad ideas a lot. Like, that's a waste of money. No, I'm telling Susan, no. I mean, she'll just be like, let's do this. I'm like, no.
Oh, I can't even tell you when I
Just
first
go do
started,
this.
there was like all these little like small like charges on Doug's account. And I'm like, what is this? Like, it's like, I don't know. I went to family reunion. They told me it was the greatest thing. So I signed up for it. And I'm like, have you ever used it? No. I'm like, cancel that stuff. Like, I think that's another thing that admin is good for, is like just going through like the back end of your stuff and be like, yeah, it sounded great at family reunion, then you brought it back to Springfield, Missouri, and it didn't work. But now you're still paying, you know, $9.99 or whatever it is. So like, cancel that crap. What's a day look like for you? What's your 20%? Oh, you guys all, everyone knows what 80-20 is, right? Okay. What's your 20%?
Ladies
Everybody know?
first.
It's hard. I mean, I do everything.
Uh-huh.
So, I mean, everything that, you know, Susan is supposed to be dealing with the lead gen, and I try to encourage her to do that and do her part. And then I've kind of just got everything. I mean, you mentioned the word executive assistant. I mean, that's really, yeah, we do everything. I mean, I help with personal life stuff too. I'll schedule or do, you know, so I just do everything to hopefully get her to focus on what she's supposed to be doing.
Yep. Andrew?
Get in the morning when it's quiet. More often than not, it's still nice and quiet. And this is an average day. This obviously doesn't happen every day, but that's when I go through the inbox, QuickBooks stuff. I'm kind of the bookkeeper for the team as well. Do that quiet time stuff because I love to play. And when the agents get in the office, sometimes we play a little too much or talk about sports for 3 hours and like, oh, now I still got to do this thing. And I love talking about golf, but whatever. The afternoon's always pretty free flow. A lot of days I do have time, and this is a very recent development, but you know, an hour a day listening to like a podcast, an audiobook, something like that. Not even real estate related necessarily either. Just things we enjoy learning about because we on the team believe that's just a very important thing as well. Afternoon is, free flow. I want to be available to help the agents as much as I can. You need a contract, doc sent, whatever. I'm there for them when they reach out, and I'm happy to be able to help out almost every single time they reach out. Specifically, one of the most important things I believe I do that's kind of hard to quantify is to help, you know, the executive assistant. We've said that a few times. I guess I'd say that's part of my title specifically for Blake. Whatever he needs, man. Like, and again, sometimes can be help with personal stuff. If I just need to be a soundboard to help him bounce ideas around so he knows how to steer the business better. Like, I just want to be there in that space as well. And you can't really quantify that, but you know, it's something, any way we can help the people on our team and specifically our rainmaker steer the gurus in a direction that we all want it to go. I want to be there for that.
Yeah. Bethany?
You know, I am doing the perfect real estate assistant right now too, and I agree, like there's some there's
A little outdated.
yeah, good things. But they talk about like blocking your color blocking your calendar and your time and stuff. I'm like, yeah, that's like in a perfect world, but things happen throughout the day. But I spend a lot of time, because of my part-time status, which is the obstacle, is that I'm trying to play catch up in the inbox and see where or what I need to do next to help everything proceed as we would want it to. You know, whether it's a new listing, a contract, a new lead, those kind of things. So, and again, I am executive assistant as well, you know, wherever I can help Elise, so that her ultimate goal with hiring myself and Christina was so that she could have that family work-life balance. So whatever I can do, I don't mind making her hair appointment. That's fine.
Because you don't want to hear her like complain about her hair.
She said her hat doesn't
like
fit
taking
anymore.
on a spouse, kind of like.
Yeah. So, and then another thing is like, I'm really trying to like reduce all the different avenues. Like what you were saying, like Doug signing up for all these things and they sound great and stuff. You know, you guys use Trello. You guys told me about that, but I'm just like, as I'm learning Command and stuff, I'm like, I'm wanting to get everything in Command as much as possible. And it's evolving to what we need. But I'm trying to update her database and stuff like that. It was bare bones when I came over. So like, you know, once a week I check her Facebook birthdays to make sure her clients are there. So I'm working also on like just that client connection and client appreciation as well. So getting anniversaries and birthdays and stuff like that.
So I would say my day to day, so I go through email, so I actually monitor like 4 different email accounts. So I have to go through all of them, filter them through. I check in with our agents. I would say I talk to our agents every day, like every single day. It doesn't matter what time it is. And then I check in with like our transaction coordinator, see what she needs from us. I check our calendar, see what needs to, like what's coming up. And then I also have to look at like what just happened in the past. So like what closing did we have? Is that buckled up, taken care of? Did we get paid? So that kind of stuff. And then like what's coming up in the future. Like what do we have closing? What needs to happen for that to close smoothly? And then also like our agents lead genning. Like, so I'll, like reach out to them and, ask them, like, who do you have going right now? Like, what do you need from me to help with that? And then I try to leave my afternoons open as well, because you just never really know what's going to get thrown at you. A lot of that time I'll leave open for like listing paperwork, buyer's agents paperwork. I do help with all contracts and basically whatever they need. Luckily our transaction coordinator, we send a lot of that stuff to her now. But yeah, so, but I do like to structure my day. So like the morning is like all like computer, and then the end of the day is just kind of like whatever is needed of me. We have like 10 more minutes. So I'm gonna ask one more question and I'll see if anybody else has questions. What would be your guys' advice for an agent that's considering adding an admin to their team? Krista, I'll let you start.
Just go through the proper process to find someone that's gonna fit well, that you trust, and that you're willing to, give some control.
Mhm.
So that's what
Andrew?
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. The people we hire on the team, part of Blake's his 20% is actually looking for fits for the team. That's part of what he does. So we agree with make sure it's a good fit KPA process. But probably the biggest piece of advice I would have is in my experience, the role, whatever the role is for your team, about 50% of it is, by the book, because, you got to do compliance this way. You got to fill out the contracts this way, things like that. It's the systems for the team, by the book. The other 50% is whatever the heck your agent needs the role to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to have some say in that as well, because if, they don't know what you don't know, you don't know what you don't know, none of us know what we don't know. You have to create something that you're going to be able to enjoy as well, or, you're just going to end up miserable. Just whatever works for your team. There's no hard and fast one way to do it. So you got to know how to do the technical stuff, but you got to just do what works for the team and yourself.
Mm-hmm. Bethany?
I would say that, the common denominator was we didn't have onboarding. So if the agent would be prepared and write down what they do in a day and like kind of figure out what their 80-20 is and figure out their primary focus. What can I give up to focus on this and meet my goals, whether it's home at night or whatever, go on more vacations, those kind of things. So that you have kind of a starting point of what that admin will be for you. It will evolve, but
Yeah.
I just think that's super helpful. It's that relinquishing of duties. What are you willing to give up to meet your goals? Having that already prepared prior to not just saying, I need your help. Because it'd be helpful to have an onboarding, but we all know in a perfect world.
Right. I would say, so my 2 things of advice are, number 1, like make sure you can pay them. I've seen a lot of admins, like, I know this sounds stupid, but like, if you are living closing paycheck to closing paycheck, you can't afford an admin. So I know like Doug is completely different, but like, I remember when Doug hired me, I literally said, like, if you don't close another transaction for the rest of the year, can you still pay me? And he said, yes. We set aside, like him and his wife had talked about it, and they had set aside enough money to where if he didn't have any other closings, he could still pay me. So I was like, okay, cool. You know, 'cause I came from a corporate world where I was like, I've never had an individual pay me before. So that's kind of scary, you know, like, can you actually afford me? So I think like as an agent, like, can you really afford an admin? Because I don't know how many admins I've seen that had to get knocked down to part-time or weren't able to sustain their role because their agent overshot what business they could do, as opposed to like actually having that money set aside. And same thing when you hire on somebody else, like we just hired an ISA on. And we went down to the dollar, like what can we pay this person? How many hours can they work? You know, like at what time do we cut this off if they're not making us money? You know, and then again, like if we don't sell anything for the rest of the year, can we still afford this admin? And the answer was yes. My second piece of advice would be like, hire somebody that you like. Like, I know that they say, you know, like hire somebody that's right for your business, but hire somebody that you like, because as you can see here, like these people are now enfolded in your business, like, and your personal life. I mean, I know like every grandkid that Doug has, I know their birthdays. I know like what they're interested in. I know where they go to school. I know what Doug is doing generally on a Saturday at 3:00 in the afternoon. And he knows what I am doing as well. Like a perfect example of this was my birthday was 2 weeks. I don't even know when it was, but Doug knew that at this time on this day, I was going to be with my son at the playground. So he like brought a gift to the playground. But like, what I'm saying is like, that's how in depth your life becomes with your admin. And I think you guys could agree that like,
if you're running a good team, I mean, you're all family.
yeah,
Yeah.
like there's probably nothing about your guys' agents' lives that you don't really know about. Like, you know, I mean, like, is there anything in your agent's life that you don't technically have access to? Yeah, like I mean, I have Doug's debit card.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
You know, I have Doug's personal email.
Yeah, well, you know, every password, they don't.
Yeah.
Seriously,
So-
like, she's like, what's the password to that?
Yeah, so hire somebody that you like, you know, hire somebody that is gonna help you personally, not just business, because again, I see a lot of admins go to the wayside because the relationship wasn't right.
And you don't want to dread coming into the office
Oh,
because
no.
you don't like, you know, the atmosphere or like, you know.
Yeah, and as an agent, like
can't
that's
be
your
open.
hard-earned money that you're spending, so you wanna give your money to somebody you like. So, what questions do you guys have? Yes, Nancy?
If you had one role or one task that you could take away from your admin and pay someone else to do it, what would the most beneficial one be?
I think whatever your admin's not excelling in, like I hate social media, so I don't do anything with social media. So Susan pays somebody else to do that. You just need to, what does your admin not want to do, or what are they saying they're not excelling at? And that's what you can pull out to leverage, just as any other leverage situation.
I would agree with that. So I realized that like our database was like not being worked, and that our biggest pushback from our agents was that they didn't have a steady source of incoming leads. And so I realized that maybe that's not something that I'm very good at because I was doing everything else. So that is why we hired that ISA, because that is their role, is to bring in leads. So just like she said, like ask your admin, like, where do you feel like you're dropping the ball? And not in a bad way, but
Yeah, when you're going from one admin to two admins. I mean, the first, when we did hire on another admin, Susan said, what are the things you enjoy doing? Because I was fine. I mean, I felt like I was excelling in whatever, but what do you enjoy and what do you not? And I gave her the list and she's like, okay, well, let's hire to this list of the stuff that you don't want to do anymore, you're not good at, or you don't feel you're good at. So.
You guys have anything to add?
I don't know, I've never known or not had a TC, but even working full-time in the volume that Elise is doing, I don't know how I would be able to keep up with all of the stuff that they do. And so outsourcing that, I think it was a huge benefit before, but I still think like even the hire of myself, it didn't take away the need of having a TC. Especially we utilize Clear Contract to Close too.
I think everybody probably has a different circumstance when it comes to PC. I feel like these guys.
Anybody else have any questions?
Andrew, you talked about like figuring it out real quick. Like when you started, you're like, we don't know what this looks like, or we kind of know what it wanted to look like. What's the best advice you have as far as like tools, or how did you pinpoint those types of things pretty quick?
Sure. I mean, there's a lot there. I would recommend, any KW trainings, just asking around the office, just to get a lot of those basics down. It took Ignite in the beginning and just kind of help get that agent perspective. I felt like that helped some, but I know this seems kind of nebulous, but to me, it's still the most important thing is just to really be in such good communication with your agent admin communication about what the expectations are in and of themselves. I shadowed him a lot in the beginning and just was soaking up what is a real estate transaction? What are the steps? I would say that's critical. So you just can know what the heck you're talking about and then kind of keep building from there. And then it turns into more of a like, how does the agent want to handle this? How would they like your help handling this? How can you help them in such a way that like doesn't make you stir crazy as well? Just really get the basics of real estate down and then build off of that what you want your role in the business to be in a way that's not going to drive you crazy.
Can I tack on something really fast? Is that okay?
Go for it.
So are you hiring admin?
Yeah.
This is something we did kind of 50-50, right? And then we went to career visioning. I would really recommend going into career visioning a lot. Andrew you probably followed me around for 11 months. There was if I was going on an appointment, Andrew's going with me. If I was going, Andrew's going with me. The thing that we didn't do, because we just didn't think about it, was Andrew figuring out what I was doing on the appointments. We were more so talking about the knowledge of a transaction or the knowledge of, but we figured out like 10 months in, we're like, actually, that's not your job. Damn. So we did the wrong thing, but it was like, oh, hey, when you do this, you should get their name, contact information. We could have built a system around what I was already doing while he was shadowing, but I think that would be the plan for sure. Unless you already have systems, but I do not.
Andrew, I love watching you go from like when you first started, you were here like every day at like 9 o'clock sharp. Like your like corporate role was like there. And now you like relax, not in a good way.
For sure.
But like I remember him like coming in like on time every day because his office is right next to ours.
Yep.
And I'd be like, that's not gonna last. It's not gonna last. Yeah. And then like as your confidence grew in your role, like you realized that like that's not what this job is.
Well, and that comes with a lot of, you got to earn it. Like we've had the conversation before, like he wouldn't let me show up at, 8 one day, 9:30 the next day, 1:30 p.m.,
Yeah.
whatever's going on. That wouldn't happen without the trust being there. And again, just that relationship is so important. It's kind of funny. We've known each other for about 20 years now. So there's some history there, which has been kind of a double-edged sword. It all just comes with the trust in that relationship, figuring out your role, and we're just going to do what we need to do when we need to do it, and that's not going to be the same every day.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions?
I want to add on to that too, because that's just really, really good. So I'm throwing you under the bus here, and I apologize, but
Let's do it.
one of the biggest first conversations Andrew and I had, he's like, no, I'm very on time. So you say the 9 o'clock thing, it's like, oh yeah, that was such a thing.
Uh-huh. I
And
remember.
Andrew was kind of trying to, because Andrew's organized, way more organized than I am. So Andrew was coaching me on trying to coach me on organization stuff. And he was talking about time management. He goes, well, I'm really good at managing my time. And yours is kind of chaos. And it's like, well, the bank's been managing your time. And we had he was really open to it. And so we do have that 20-year relationship. But so sometimes especially if there's a relationship there, it's really hard to be like, hey man, you're stepping out of a bank and into a different space. Be open to this being different, because I think it could, if he would have dug his heels in, you can imagine how terrible it would have been. Like 9 o'clock, got to be here at 9. It's like, dude, you're doing it to yourself. It would have been just terrible. Being open to all of it.
Not saying that there's not something to structure and like
For sure.
structure is good, but it was just fun watching how you like changed personally. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, anybody else have anything? All right.
Cool.
Carla say? I thought she asked you something.
She just said, I helped her a little bit when she came on, so she just said, I'm so grateful for the time Lindy gave me before Andrew.
Me too.
I was like, we are thankful for the time.
Yes.
Yeah, I love helping and training and, because I didn't get a ton for no one's fault, so I just think it's fun to like, now I'm in the position where I can help other people, so.
Carla's on Zoom right now.
She's on there.
She's always lurking.
She's lurking.
Yeah, bye Nancy. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Lenny, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Snag a photo while you guys, are you guys all gonna hate that? I took several candid ones. I figured you guys